I'm Vinayak Ghate. My journey with loving science began at the age of 16 when I was introduced to the beauty of logic, analysis and reasoning within science. And this is what drives me to the day. More than any particular field or domain of science, it is this urge or this drive to get to the bottom of things, figuring out why they work the way they do, and putting this knowledge to innovating and inventing new things. That's what makes science exciting for me. After my high school or junior college, as many call it, I embarked upon a journey to train myself as a food technologist. Now, what a food technologist does is he studies the science of food, the chemical reactions that take place in a food product, the microbiology that transpires within a food system, the physics at play in a food matrix. And as a person who is attracted to logic, few things can be more interesting than getting to the bottom of what happens inside a food system, which can be as complex as any system gets. I am a generalist at heart. Rather than a specific discipline interesting me or exciting me, I am excited or passionate about the process of logic, reasoning and analysis. To that end, I was quite open-minded to performing a variety of projects when it came to my PhD journey. What I was more interested in was being able to do research. Hence, when my supervisor then, Dr. Yoon Yuk, told me about this project, I thought this is something which looks interesting and something which I can commit 4 years of my life to. And the intent of the project then was to reduce the reliance on refrigeration in the food supply chain. Because currently, as you will have seen around you, our food supply chain is heavily reliant on refrigeration. And refrigeration, for all the good it does, cannot kill microorganisms. This is where we thought we could use or develop the use of visible light as an intervention to complement, if not substitute, refrigeration. Hence, we started developing this technology to work against a variety of foodborne pathogens: Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria, Staph aureus. And over a period of time, we also realized that this technology could add value not just in the food supply chain, but also for general disinfection. If you look at our surroundings, we perform cleaning episodically. In other words, only once every few hours, whereas contamination by its very nature can take place and does take place anytime. And that is the reason why we have not been able to prevent an outbreak from escalating into an epidemic and ultimately into a pandemic. The need of the hour is an intervention or a technology that can keep us safe all the time, round the clock. This is where we believe that SafeLight can add value. SafeLight uses a portion of visible light, light that is completely safe to humans, in order to excite certain light-sensitive compounds inside microbial cells called porphyrins. Once excited by the right kind of light, these porphyrins lead to the generation of reactive oxygen species, which, as the name suggests, are highly reactive, lead to toxic reactions inside the microbial cell, and ultimately cell death. This unique scientific phenomenon can be used to kill a variety of microorganisms: bacteria, the gram-positive ones, the gram-negative ones, fungi, yeasts, as well as molds. And of late, it has also been shown that they can be used to kill viruses. SafeLight has been using this unique scientific phenomenon to disinfect high-risk surfaces around us. High-risk surfaces are those surfaces which possess a high microbial load, a high touch frequency, or both. These include places such as door handles, toilet seats, tap faucets, etc. So during my PhD, I tried to understand the effect of this visible light on a variety of foodborne microorganisms, and not just in one environment but in different environments. What would happen if the same organisms were present in a food processing plant versus say in a food court, or what if they were to contaminate a pineapple versus say a fruit juice. So the different factors which influenced the efficacy of this technology were a focus area of my PhD. So when we decided to use this technology in the real world, the next question for us was, where do we start? Where exactly do we apply it? Do we apply it in homes, in public transport, in hotels, in hospitals? And that's where we came across this program by NUS called the Lean Launchpad. And I would highly recommend this program to researchers especially, because it forces you to come out of the building and test these subconscious assumptions. This program is where we actually went and spoke to different market segments, be they hospitals, food processing plants, public transport agencies, hotels, and actually tested our assumptions. And after 3 months of rigorous interviews and questions and answers with these different market segments, we came to the conclusion that our products can potentially add the highest value in hospitals, because hospitals suffer from a very serious problem of hospital acquired infections. They are also called as healthcare acquired infections. So as part of this program, we actually visited a hospital, walked through their wards, spoke with their infectious disease experts, and tried to understand what their problems precisely were. And that is where we understood that in hospitals, the problem or the majority of the infections start from the toilet. And speaking of toilets, the number one cause of infection inside a toilet is the toilet seat. Hence, we decided that our first product should focus on the toilet seat. My journey from research to entrepreneurship has been, in one word, exciting, and it still is to this day. As a young researcher, I always dreamt of my research having an impact in the real world. And to that end, I always used to think deep down what could be done to increase its chances of being applied around us. And when I went out there and spoke to different customers or potential customers, I realized things that I would never have realized had I stayed in the lab. There are a lot of factors that decide whether a certain body of research gets applied in the real world, and these factors could be technical or non-technical. And if a researcher or a potential entrepreneur can develop an appreciation of these things, they can make the research more informed. One only realizes them when one goes out and speaks to potential users. As a young researcher, I was always keen to ensure that my research finds an application in the real world. At the same time, I had a sense that for research to be practically applicable, it would require an appreciation of more than just the technical or scientific factors. Hence, when I embarked on the journey of entrepreneurship, I was expecting there to be some surprises. Still, when one embarks on this journey, it is only then that they truly get an understanding and appreciation of how much more there is to learn in order for the research to be practically translatable. Along this journey, a couple of things have helped me in hindsight. The first is that I've always been keen and open-minded to learn new things. Hence, whatever this journey has thrown at me, I have embraced it rather than tried to resist it. I've allowed this journey to change me and mold me in the way that is required, that of an entrepreneur. Second thing is that I've always been a generalist at heart. I take great pleasure in being able to do a variety of things rather than siloing myself into one particular aspect. And entrepreneurship, I feel, requires a lot of that. I find it very fulfilling to engage different aspects of my personality. It could be talking or pitching to investors one day, trying to troubleshoot a certain product or prototype the next, or engaging myself in PR or marketing activities another day. Entrepreneurship is not without its challenges, and our journey has certainly had its fair share. To begin with, one has to embrace himself for failure, and failure a lot of the time, if not most of the time. This can be a stark contrast to one's journey as a researcher, where they are in control and face success a lot of the time. One needs to have the capacity to normalize failures. One mindset shift which helped us to do that was we tried to eliminate the word failure from our dictionary. There are no failures, there are only learnings. And every learning is a step closer to achieving your objective. One of the challenges that we experienced, and this can be especially true for people on an accelerated entrepreneurship journey like ours, was that it's very easy to get engrossed in this whole ecosystem of investment, of going about things a certain way, whereas what is needed a lot of the times is to take a pause and try and get some perspective. One thing which helped us do that was we were fortunate to have a good set of advisors with us. So that is something which I will strongly advise any young entrepreneur. Take your time and make sure that you select the right people around you. And that could involve some trial and error. But if you have the right people around you, you will make even more of this journey. So one of the challenges we faced was, in the beginning, there were so many stakeholders that it seemed we had to satisfy. It was very hard to understand who should be our focus or whether we should have a certain focus at all. Over a period of time, we realized, or rather it was only over a period of time and after several attempts, that we realized that our sole focus should be the customer. And in an ideal world, if there should be no misalignment between the customer and other stakeholders. As an entrepreneur, one should be looking to add value to the customers. If you are adding value to customers, the other stakeholders will also be satisfied. So that's one thing which we wished we knew at the beginning, but then this journey would not have been half as much fun without this. One thing which I would encourage young students to do is to follow their heart and at least try what their heart says. I'll give you an example. During my formative years, I had a strong feeling that I wanted to go into research, but a part of me also wondered, hey, what if research is not for me? What if the right thing for me to do is to take a job in the industry? But I only knew the answer to that when I did an internship in both places. So you will realize a lot of things only when you try them out. So if your heart is telling you something, have the conviction and show the courage to follow it. You'll never regret it. One of the things or realizations that I've come to in the past few years is that there is no one right way to do things. One can be successful in a variety of ways. So, if you feel that a certain way is suited for you, feel free to pursue it. If a certain branch of science interests you, feel free to pursue that irrespective of what your peers might be doing. It could be a diploma or going directly to university. You have your own path to live. You have your own story to create. So, remember, you can be successful in your own way, and it is important that you be successful in your own way.